She was the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of war, the patron of the greatest city in the ancient world. She sprang fully formed and fully armored from the head of Zeus himself, born not from a mother but from the mind of the most powerful god in existence. She was brilliant, strategic, and utterly without mercy when she decided someone deserved to be punished. And she made some of the most questionable decisions in all of Greek mythology. This is the story of Athena, the goddess the ancient world both worshipped and feared, the divine protector who could build civilizations and destroy lives in the same breath, and the most complicated figure on all of Olympus, a goddess of wisdom who did not always act wisely, and a goddess of justice who did not always deliver it. Athena was born in the most dramatic way possible. Zeus had been warned by a prophecy that a child born from the Titan goddess Medusa would one day surpass him in power. His solution was characteristically blunt. He swallowed Medusa whole while she was pregnant. For months, nothing happened. Then Zeus developed a headache so severe, so unrelenting, so absolutely unbearable that he could not function. The gods tried everything. Nothing worked. Finally, the god Hephaestus took an axe and split Zeus's skull open, and out stepped Athena, fully grown, fully armored, shield in hand, spear raised, war cry on her lips, born from the mind of Zeus himself, carrying the wisdom of her mother Metis and the divine authority of her father. From the very first moment of her existence, she was extraordinary, and she knew it. She became one of the most powerful gods on Olympus almost immediately. Zeus favored her above all his other children. She was the only god he allowed to carry his thunderbolts. She was his advisor, his strategist, the divine mind behind his authority. Where Zeus ruled through power, Athena ruled through intelligence, and intelligence, in the long run, is always the more dangerous weapon. She was the goddess of wisdom. But wisdom in the ancient world meant something more than knowledge. It meant craft, skill, strategy, the practical intelligence to build things and plan things and win things. Athena was the patron of weavers and potters and architects. She taught humanity the arts of civilization, how to build ships, how to make olive oil, how to organize cities. The olive tree she gave to Athens during her contest with Poseidon was not just a tree, it was the foundation of an economy. It was the gift of a goddess who understood what people actually needed to survive. And then there was the other side of Athena. Arachne was a mortal weaver of extraordinary talent. She was so skilled that people said her work was divine, that she must have learned from Athena herself. Arachne rejected this. She claimed her talent was entirely her own. She challenged Athena to a weaving contest and lost. Or rather, she created a tapestry so perfect, so technically flawless that Athena could find nothing wrong with it. What infuriated Athena was not that Arachne had won. It was what she had woven. The tapestry depicted the gods in their worst moments. Zeus's countless affairs, Poseidon's rages, Apollo's cruelties. The truth, woven into fabric for all the world to see. Athena destroyed the tapestry. Then she struck Arachne across the face. Arachne, humiliated and in despair, tried to hang herself. Athena transformed her into a spider, condemned to weave forever, hanging from her own thread. The goddess of wisdom had punished a mortal not for failing but for telling the truth too well. And then there was Medusa. You already know part of this story, but the full story is darker than most people realize. Medusa was a priestess in Athena's own temple, a young woman who had devoted her life to serving the goddess. When Poseidon violated her within those sacred walls, Athena was faced with a choice. She could pursue justice against the god who had desecrated her temple, or she could punish the woman who had been violated in it. She chose the woman. Medusa's beautiful hair became snakes. Her eyes became weapons of stone. She was transformed from a devoted priestess into a creature of terror and exiled to the edge of the world. Poseidon faced no consequences at all. The ancient world has debated this decision for thousands of years. Some say Athena was protecting Medusa, making her so terrifying that no one could ever hurt her again. Some say Athena could not touch Poseidon, her uncle and a god of equal power, without starting a war. Some say Athena was simply furious that her sacred space had been violated and needed someone to punish, and Medusa was easier. Perhaps all of these things are true at once. But the story does not end with Medusa's transformation. Years later, Perseus came to slay her. And it was Athena who helped him. She gave him the polished bronze shield that allowed him to see Medusa's reflection without meeting her gaze. She guided the blade. She was there at the moment of Medusa's death, the goddess who had created the monster, now helping to destroy her. And after Medusa was dead, Athena took her head and placed it at the center of her own shield, the face of the woman she had punished, the eyes that turned people to stone, now serving as divine protection for the goddess of wisdom herself. Medusa, who had served Athena in life, now served her in death as well, worn as armor, displayed as power, carried into every battle Athena ever fought. There is something deeply uncomfortable about this when you sit with it. Athena was not a villain. She was genuinely one of the most important and admirable forces in Greek mythology. She gave humanity civilization. She protected heroes. She represented the highest ideals of intelligence and strategy and craft. She was the goddess that Athens chose above all others as their divine protector, and the city flourished under her patronage for centuries. But she was also capable of extraordinary cruelty toward those who had less power than she did. Arachne, who told the truth. Medusa, who was wronged. Both of them destroyed not for evil but for being inconvenient, for being in the wrong place, for existing in ways that complicated the story Athena wanted to tell about herself. That is the most human thing about Athena. Not her wisdom, not her brilliance, but the gap between who she believed herself to be and what she sometimes did. She was the goddess of wisdom, and she knew, on some level, what justice required. She simply did not always choose it. The city of Athens adored her. They built the Parthenon on the Acropolis, one of the most magnificent structures in human history, as a temple in her honor. Inside stood a statue of Athena 40 feet tall, made of gold and ivory, her shield held before her with Medusa's face at its center. Every person who entered that temple looked up at the goddess of wisdom and saw on her shield the face of the woman she had failed. Whether Athena ever thought about that, the myths do not say. She fought in wars. She counseled heroes. She shaped the outcome of the Trojan War from behind the scenes, favoring the Greeks and working against Troy with a patience and strategic brilliance that spanned a decade. She guided Odysseus through his long journey home. She never stopped being extraordinary, and she never stopped carrying Medusa's face. In the end, Athena was not a simple goddess of light and wisdom. She was something far more interesting than that. She was a goddess who contained the best and worst of intelligence, the capacity to build something magnificent, and the capacity to destroy something innocent, sometimes in the same moment, with the same hands. The ancient Greeks understood this. They did not worship perfect gods. They worshipped gods who were powerful and complicated, and sometimes wrong. Gods who reflected the world as it actually was, not as they wished it to be. Athena was wisdom. Athena was war. Athena was the olive tree and the snake hair and the shield in the face that never left it. She was the most brilliant mind on Olympus, and she carried her greatest failure into every battle she ever fought.